for a lot of people who are watching and have seen what's gone on in the state for the last 2 years, or a year and a half. But if you, already today we see that Steve Levy, your primary opponent, or one of your primary opponents, has said that this choice was safe and bland. What's your response to that?
You know, if people think they want more soap opera in Albany, if they want more Pedro Espada, if they want more Elliot Spitzer, if they want more Alan Hevesy, they're looking at the wrong ticket. I think what people are hungry for is adult leadership. They want people who are going to go to Albany and challenge the status quo, rethink the way we deliver services, lower taxes, balance the budget, and restore some sense of faith that, again, we've got adult leaders back in charge. I think this sort of sense that somehow we want people who will create more chaos, more confusion, more distrust. I mean, that's all part of the past. That's Andrew Cuomo. That's part of the Albany social infrastructure that is everything wrong with what we see now in state government. I think what New Yorkers really want right now, not the Andrew Cuomos who refuses to answer questions about where he stands on any issue, and you know, his strategy is let's use some deep throat to go and deep background to explain where he is on a different position.
Rick.
You've got two candidates that got the will, the political will to go out there and lay it out and tell New Yorkers how they're going to balance the budget, how they're going to lower taxes, and how they're going to create jobs. And I think that's exactly what the people of New York are looking for.
Okay, we'll get to Andrew Cuomo. Hold on, we'll get to Andrew Cuomo in a second. But what I think I'm hearing you say is that maybe a little bit of bland is good.
Well, I think that it has to be, the question has to be what's bland. Showing up every day, working hard, married to the same woman for almost 20 years, having 3 kids that I'm concerned about their futures. That was the reason I got into politics in the first place, was the future of my children. Showing up every day, lowering the property tax rates, and creating a more efficient government, serving more veterans, more seniors, more economic development with less taxes. If that's dull and that's boring, I'll accept the criticism. I think the focus has to be on the services you deliver, not the background or the flair or whatever you want to call that's not boring in the candidate or in the elected official.
Okay, so to that end,
let's get back to the business.
To that end, actually, your job, you do have a job. Obviously, you're county executive, and your county has an $18 million tax budget deficit. You were looking for permission from Albany to increase the sales tax to address that, and said if you couldn't get that permission, then you would have to increase property taxes. How are you going to, going forward, address those problems while you're also campaigning around the state? And how does that whole situation fit into this fiscal discipline message that the two of you are espousing here tonight?
We have to really look back to the last 4 years. I came in, there was unpaid bills, the tax rate was much higher than it is right now on our property tax. There were services that weren't being delivered, and there's this cloud of financial uncertainty about Chautauqua County. In 4 years, I paid off our past due bills. Chautauqua County is the only county that's fully funded or appropriately funded its GASB 45 obligation, which is their long-term pension obligation. We increased our fund balance. We lowered the property tax rate. Our sales tax was lowered from 8.25 to 7 3/4. And at the same time, I had dealt with increasing obligations from the state. The $18 million is because New York State sent out the edict that I had to pay $5 million more in a pension plan, $1 million more for new social programs, $773,000 for a more Medicaid obligation. And at the same time, they're going to issue more responsibility if they put a budget together that's going to give us more responsibilities. My desire was to avoid any property tax increase because that's what's holding Western New York and upstate back primarily as property taxes.
But Rick, Rick has actually stepped down from his position in the private sector to focus full-time on this campaign. You obviously, I don't believe, are going to do that. You're not going to step down from your local position. So how is it that you're going to be able to balance these two really full-time jobs, campaigning full-time for a position in state government and then subsequently also running a government in Chautauqua County?
Well, Liz, that's a great question, and the issue here is my full-time obligation will continue to be to serve the people of Chautauqua County, and I'll do that as I've done successfully for over 4 years now, in which they have great confidence in me, having just reelected me by a significant margin. I'll continue to work just as hard, but in addition to that, I'm going to be out there around Western New York, around upstate, across the whole state, talking to people about the successes we've had in Chautauqua County because people in Chautauqua County focus on their jobs, get their jobs done, and I have a tremendously talented group of people I've surrounded myself with, which in talking to Rick, that's precisely what he's going to do in state government. If you surround yourself with bright, talented people, it allows you to do even more. And that's what I've been able to do in Chautauqua County. I've got great confidence in my team that will put together a good budget and will continue to move Chautauqua County forward as I work with Rick to bring this message across the state.
So, Rick, let me also ask you, stepping on your message a little bit, this is supposed to be a big day for you, rolling out your number 2 as you're heading into, or your preferred number 2, because he actually has to run separately from you if there's a primary, into the convention. And today we hear, well, the lone GOP Lieutenant Governor contender Myers Murmel might be running for governor. That's 4 gubernatorial candidates. State Chair Ed Cox has been talking to other people, shopping around maybe for ESDC Chairman Dennis Mullen, asking him if he's interested in running. You clearly, I mean, you don't have the support of Ed Cox, but what's going on with the party?
Well, there's nothing wrong with the party. I can't answer what's going on with Ed Cox. That's a different question. What's important right now to know is that we are going into the convention from a position of dominance. We have overwhelming support going into the convention. We have the support of the Conservative Party. Their convention will be held right before the Republican convention. I am 1,000% confident that the support of the state chairman, Mike Long, will be validated by conservatives. I'll be the Republican and conservative nominee. I think the important thing to know and to take away from this report about a candidate moving from lieutenant governor to governor is that it clears the way for Greg Edwards, and I think it speaks volumes about the fact that Greg Edwards is seen as an outstanding choice for lieutenant governor that people are going to rally around. It brings great balance to this ticket in many, many different ways, and people can relate with Greg Edwards. He's not the kind of Albany lifetime politician that's just going to watch out for themselves and sell the public down the river for their own career. He's going to be the kind of guy who's going to go in as a partner with me and solve problems, take the heat, drive down spending, balance budgets, lower taxes, and keep our children here in New York, not export them to other states.
It would be it would be interesting if there's no fight for lieutenant governor, but there's a 4-way fight now for governor, and going into the convention, certainly it just gets more and more interesting, and we will be seeing
Liz,
you there.
I have no concern about coming out of this convention. You know, there's a lot of noise. I get it. In 10 days, it will be over with, and I'll be the nominee.
Well, we will be seeing both of you there. I really want to thank you. I appreciate very much your time. Thanks, both of you, for joining me. Greg Edwards, now a lieutenant governor contender for the Republican Party, and Rick Lazio, gubernatorial contender, also for the Republican Party. Thanks very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.